All right, we're going to um, talk about the mole, continue with that. You have been working on how to find molar mass and just in general what a mole is. And hopefully you looked at how to, what a mole equals to. Avogadro's number, that's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So you should have copied uh, this information down. 1 mole is equal to this many molecules, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. 1 mole of atoms equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, and so forth. So um, all of these conversion factors we're getting ready to use, we're going to do one-step conversions. Now, you also had to learn how to type in the scientific notation, the 6.02. So I want to make sure you're understanding that. And so this is a cell phone that has been turned sideways. You won't see this if you don't turn it sideways. And this EE button is the key. So when you are typing in this number, so you got 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, and it can be any number, but this is Avogadro's number. So you would type in 6.02, and now we're at the X here. You don't put X, you type in the EE button. So you would go 6.02 EE, and then you would just say, or then type in 23. And then whatever this might be divided by or times, then you would times it by the number that is there. So just making sure you understand how to type in a scientific number because you're getting ready to do that. So you type in 6.02, and now we're at the X. The X is your EE. Your X is your EE. That stands for the X10, and then you would type in your 23. Now, if you have a scientific calculator, it may not have EE on there, it may have EXP. That's the same thing. So either EE or EXP you would type in. All right, so let's look at what we're going to do today. So you should have seen this. This is your mole map, and we're going to focus just on this side of our mole map. We're going to be converting moles to either molecules, particles, or atoms. And it could be ions as well. But in order to go from molecules to moles or moles to molecules, we're going to be using this number right here. So let's get started. All right. So how many moles of magnesium are in 1.25 times 10 to the 23rd atoms? So we're going from atoms. So this is what we have, and this is what we want. So to start this off, I would write in 1.25 times 10 to the 23rd. Draw my line. And this is atoms. Forgot my atoms. You always got to put your unit. So if atoms is here, atoms has to be here. And every time we write atoms, it's always 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. So every time we write atoms, this is the number where you're going to put. And that's always equal to 1 mole. So you always have, and this is the abbreviation for mole, and I don't know why they do it that way. One more letter wouldn't hurt, I guess. But when you see MOL, that's the mole. So it's always 1 mole. So now we're going to do the calculation, and I'm doing it on my calculator. So I'm going to punch in 1.25 EE23, and then because this number is down below, we're dividing. So I'm going to divide it by 6.02 EE23, and that gives me 0.207, and that will change to an 8 actually. So if you look on your calculator, you should have gotten 0.2076411. It keeps on going. Now we have to remember our rules of rounding. When we're multiplying or dividing, we look at how many sig figs we have. There are 3 here, there are 3 here, so we need to end it in 3. We have to have it in 3, and that's going to give us the mole. So that's your answer, 0.208 moles. And you know, the atoms is canceled out. All right, so let's look at this second example. How many atoms of carbon are in 2.0 moles? So this is what we have, and we want atoms. So always write what you have first. So we have 2.0 moles. Draw our line. Because mole is here, now mole is going to be here. And every time we write a mole, it's always a 1 with a mole. And we're trying to go to atoms. Every time we write atoms, we always write 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. All right. So now use your calculator. We're going to punch in 2.0. And now, because the two numbers are side by side, we're multiplying. So times 6.02 EE23. And that gives us 1 point. Let me make sure I did that. I think my finger slipped. So 2.0 times 6.02 EE23. So yes. So notice we have 2 sig figs here, 3 here. So we're going to make it 2 sig figs. So our answer is 1.2 times 10 to the 24 atoms. So you see that? So if you looked on your phone, you would see E24. That means times 24 to the 24th power. So our answer is 1.2 times 10 to the 24 power for atoms. All right. Next. So if you want to stop the video at this point and try these two on your own, and then I'll walk you through it. So we have 3 moles. So this is what we have, and we want atoms. Now, I'm going to change this to, it could be particles. I want you to understand this can be particles. This could be molecules, whatever that was on that little chart. And I'm going to go back and show you that. So when you are converting to moles, it can be molecules, particles, atoms, and it's always this number that we're using. All right, so we got 3 moles. So I put 3 moles, draw my line. Every time I write a mole here, the mole goes diagonal. And every time I write a mole, it's always 1 mole down here. And it could have been up here, it just depends on where it is. So now what we want is atoms or particles or molecules, but since we have atoms here, we're going to put that. And every time we write atoms, it's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. All right, so get your calculator. Now these two numbers are side by side, so that means we're multiplying. So 3 times 6.02, hit your EE button, and then the 23, and that gives us, and notice we have only one sig fig here and 3 here, so we're going to round it to just one sig fig. So it's 1.8, so that is rounded to 2. And then that's times, do you see the E24? So 2 times 10 to the 24th power, and that's atoms. Now on your calculator, if you're doing this, it may show you times 10 to the 24 on there. But on the calculator for the cell phones, it only says E. All right, so now we've got 2.4 moles. So this is what we're writing first. So 2.4 moles, because that's what's given. What we want is molecules of water. So I draw my line. And because we have a mole here, we're going to have a mole here. And every time we write mole, it's always 1 mole. And what we want is molecules. So I write molecules up here. And every time we write molecules, it's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So let's look at your calculator. And again, we're multiplying because the two numbers are side by side. So 2.4 times 6.02 EE23, and that gives me, and let's look at our sig figs, we have 2 here and 3 here, so we want to round it to 2. So that gives me 1.4 times 10 to the 24th molecules. So that is the one step when you're converting moles to either molecules, particles, or atoms. So I'm going to stop the video here, and you're going to, I'll do another video that shows you some other parts. But this is the one step for moles to molecules, atoms, particles.